What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. As always, I am Camtastic, and this is In Response, where every other week, 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 0 friends gather around their desks and update you on the goings-on in the cEDH world and our personal journeys through the format. Joining me this week are my co-host, Nico, a.k.a. Mexi Delight. How's it going, Mexi Delight?
It's going well. Ready for today's episode, especially after just getting my ass kicked in last week's tournament too. So maybe we'll bring that up.
Yeah, you and me both. Our other co-host today is Julian, the Magician MTG. How's it going, Magician?
Not too bad, not too bad. Took 10th in that tournament, so I wasn't doing too bad. Went 2-3, so I'm feeling good about that. But excited to talk about what we got going on today.
Hell yeah. And joining us this week, we have our special guest, Zach Snack Adler, winner of the 2025 Top Deck Invitational. Zach, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, I'm pumped to be on. It's really exciting to be able to connect with more California content creators and bring this community more together. So I'm pumped to be here.
Definitely. You're like a minor celebrity these days now, too. Are you feeling it?
Yeah, I did something, unfortunately, when I started the YouTube channel. I didn't want to do it, but I was like, it's now or never. So, yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, remember, guys, you can always tune in live on Twitch every other Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Or if you happen to miss out on the live show, don't sweat it. You can catch us on YouTube later or give us a listen wherever you find your podcasts. But now it's time for the show. All right, everybody. Glad to have everybody. Very excited for this week's episode. So,
Definitely.
Zach, would you like to give us a little introduction to yourself, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Zach Adler, the Snack on Discord. I am probably most well known for my season and my run at the Top Deck Invitational, where I was able to win that and bring that home for California, which was super exciting. After that, I decided to start doing some content creation. So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Bite Sized MTG, Bite Sized Magic. And the goal of that channel is really to just elucidate facts on cEDH, help explain theory and strategy from my perspective and others that I have on the show. It's not meant to be like, really self-promoting. It's more just a way to give people a platform to talk about how they view the game and how to win and how to play well and play respectfully. And then the other thing that I'm working on right now is the California EDH circuit. That's in development. I have a lot of really amazing people helping me out with that. And we're kind of building our team up right now, but we have a soft launch at the Fishbowl in about 40 days. So by that point, we're going to hopefully have connected a lot of stores and TOs in California and be able to run a statewide circuit that'll conclude in an invitational and an open at the end of the year. So yeah, got those two things going on. And then you can find me on Twitter. I think it's Snackery Adler. I still forget my Twitter every single time, but yeah, feel free to DM me on Twitter if you have any questions, if you're interested in coaching. Getting into that, and I'm developing quite a bit of frameworks on how to do that effectively from my point of view. So I'll have more information coming about that as well. But that's just a bit about me, and yeah, again, pumped to be on here.
Nice. So Zach, I'll get all your links and stuff from you. I'm the one doing the editing for us. I'll be sure to put it in this video for everybody to follow as well.
Sweet. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll start off with our first question. So tell us about like your cEDH journey. How did you get into Magic, and how did you get to how did you get to winning an invitational?
Yeah, that's a good question. My journey with Magic started in, I think it was like 3rd or 4th grade. Pretty young. I was playing, what you would call kitchen table Magic with a bunch of people at a summer camp. Played that for a couple months, and then I put the cards away until college. And then end of college, I got into casual EDH, started playing that. That was like 2018. Couple of years of that, and then eventually I got into cEDH and never looked back to casual. I don't know if I've played a casual game since. Not against it by any means, but I haven't. Just I don't have a deck anymore. So anyway, if anyone casual wants to play, let me know. I'm happy to do it.
I'm the one in this group towing the casual line still.
Heck yeah. Okay. Well, when we see each other, we're gonna be playing some casual for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, so got into cEDH in, I believe it was called, God, I always forget the name of this too, but it was in Salt Lake City. It was this big Magic Con, and I brought.
Summit?
Yeah, it was the Summit. Yep.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I brought Crick, and I tried to find cEDH pods all weekend. Couldn't find anyone to play with me. Definitely not like how it is now, where you can walk up to any Magic thing and there's cEDH pods going. And eventually, I got a game in last day, like last hour of the convention, and I just loved it. And then I started playing cEDH relatively often online. I was in Oregon, so I didn't have a lot of places to play in person. So I would play a lot online with, all kind of different walks of life of people and different servers and public spell table lobbies, which were pretty atrocious. And I
Brutal.
didn't even know.
Yeah. Those are horrible.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, this is just what it is.
Got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. I played some online tournaments. I did Mox Masters, and I did the Chaos Series. Had some success there with a couple top 16s and a top 4. My only top 4, and I think it was Chaos, was on Blue Farm, actually. And this was like back when Brian Koval had really changed the deck from what it originally was, which was kind of like not a super strong identity, like kind of turbo-y, kind of not. And then he's like, no, we're playing stacks now. And so we had like all the hate bears in there. And I actually really enjoyed that version of Blue Farm. And then I put that away. I moved all the way to California. I was playing kind of on and off. I took some big breaks. And then it was really like this season that I wanted to grind for the Invitational. Last season I had played on and off, like I said, but I didn't really have the motivation, time, or points to get there. I had one friend in California who did make it. His name is Alex Stockwell, and I was like, well, he sucks, so I can definitely get there. Alex is awesome. He's one of my really good friends in this game, and definitely a brewing partner and someone I look up to. So
nice.
We both ended up making it this year, along with a bunch of other people in SoCal, and it was just a great year of Magic. A lot of playing on MLGS every Saturday, traveling to tournaments, playing online a lot, just like so much Magic. So that's kind of the short journey of how I got where I got.
I'm curious. So you said you kept your collection from when you first started and then like pulled it out in college days. Did you have any like banging spicy cards or old school foils or anything like that just like all of a sudden skyrocketed in price next time you looked at them?
I don't think so. The only card I remember having was like a phantasmal image.
Okay.
That was it. I think when I had played in my nerd summer camp, I did not have like a great collection. Like I think it was like a standard deck stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which really unfortunate because I feel like I could be much better off now if I had collected better.
Oh yeah, all of us definitely.
89 years old. Yeah.
Can be
like
retired.
Investment in Bitcoin,
Yeah, when I first started playing, people were playing Gaia's Cradles and Metalworkers, not in sleeves, just on the tabletop. That was, brutal stuff to think back on that these days.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, I got paid for a job one time with $30 in Bitcoin, and when it shot up to $300, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I sold that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my almost like Magic story. That one hurts a little bit.
Yeah. I had a similar thing with Dogecoin right when that was getting big, and I don't know how many people invested in that, but I put a ton in, and then Elon Musk was going on SNL, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna do great. Like it's totally it's going to the moon, and then he just tanked it. Like, he did so bad, totally flopped, and Doge never recovered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unlike the reserve list, which will always go up.
Yeah,
For real.
Exactly.
Yep. For real.
That's cool. So I guess we'll move on to the next question then, Snack.
Yeah, sure.
What does tournament prep look like for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's towards the end of the season, I was only really playing in tournaments. A lot of my Magic time and playing cEDH, I played online a lot. And that was a big sort of hallmark of how I would practice. And I think that playing all that time online kind of gave me my 10,000 hours, so to speak. And it really helped me get to like a really solid level. But at some point, online games are not as representative of high level gameplay in tournaments that you're looking for.
Just to interject, what makes you say that? Like, what's the top thing or two that you'd say separates that online versus in person?
Yeah. Well, it's the fact that your people you're playing against are in a scenario where there's nothing on the line. So it leads to some sloppy play. It also means that you don't always get high quality players. So like if you're playing in a top 16 of a tournament, you know that player is good enough to have gotten to that point or top 4.
Sure.
And online, there's really great leagues. Like I play in the Critical EDH League primarily, just because that's where a ton of games are firing, and I have a lot of people I really enjoy playing with in there. But there's definitely been times where I'm just like hunting through different servers looking for games, and some of them are just really low quality and can feel a little bit like a waste of time.
That's fair.
So yeah, that's a little bit of it. The other thing is playing in person just feels different. Like having actual people in front of you. It's like being a keyboard warrior. Like I would, people would never say the things they say online to someone's face.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a micro. Yeah, a cEDH, I think, too.
Yeah, being able to read body language too is a skill that you can develop too, to figure out people's tells and stuff like that throughout a game, especially if you're grinding in-person tournaments with them too. You can eventually just pick up on whether or not they've got removal, whether they've got counter magic, or whether they're actually going for a win.
Yeah, by the size of the smirk on their face, right?
You can also bluff harder. I lean into the bluffing aspect of it.
Yeah, the one thing I'm still learning to get used to in public, like in the tournament settings and LGSs, is if you're like the last pod, not even in like top 16, but if you're like one of the last pods playing, and then you get the crowd, the onlookers, and everybody's like looking at your hand over your shoulder and like almost saying something, but not, and that's still kind of like gets to me a little bit, but getting better at it.
Yeah, I get that same kind of stage fright, or not. I don't know if it's stage fright, but just kind of like, like pressure, I guess, when you're like on stream games. I felt that to the max in the finals pod at the Invitational, where I'm like, so many people are going to watch this. Oh, yeah. If I fuck up, it's going to be so bad, But luckily did feel like a really good game of Magic. Like I felt pretty happy about how it went. But yeah, I completely agree. Like in person, having everyone looking at you, or being on stream, or like getting the added pressure of the human social engagement instead of just looking at people's hands on like a playmat, is just so different.
Yeah, everybody's just like pass.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, so speaking of the finals of the Invitational, I mean, it was you and 3 other blue farms, right?
Yeah.
So, so what kind of differences did you see between you and the 3 other blue farms? Like, what were you doing differently? What were they doing differently that you saw and kind of set you apart? Maybe gave you an advantage? Yeah,
that's a good question. There's a couple notable differences I saw in. I mean, it's hard to condense everything, obviously, but if I were to break it down, I think that I felt really good in that finals game. Like physically and mentally, I felt strong. And I think some of my opponents were getting really hungry and like were just tired. And I don't mean this in any way to be mean at all.
No,
like there's something to be said about being physically like prepared in tournament settings, and like making sure you have enough water and enough food and enough sleep to set yourself up for success. So that was one thing that I had where I was like, I was really locked in the whole game. I didn't have a moment where I was like checking out. The other thing was deck list wise, there was a moment at the end of the game in the like final stack battle where we all were able to win at instant speed except Andy, because he had pitched his Born Upon a Wind earlier in the game. And he isn't on Valley Floodcaller, so his deck limited him to being only able to win at sorcery speed. And we were coming down to the basic like time limit, which if that time limit was hit, I would have won the game because I was first seat. And I was the highest seeded. I really didn't want to win that way, but it did make everyone else play to push into that sort of like they had to, they had to push
They knew
against
you were the de facto winner otherwise, right?
right. I think like everything in cEDH, you should use everything to your advantage. And so if I know that other players are going to have to push into me, I can just hold back and never go for it. Because, if they don't push, then I will just win. Which is, again, not how I wanted to win. But so yeah, deck list wise, Andy wasn't on a Valley Flood Caller. Everything everyone else was. One of the other players, Sterling Sellards, he is on kind of a Texas Blue Farm list. And I say that just because it's popularized by players down there. They're running things like Orum's Chant, Revel in Silence. What's the guy called? Stormkiln Artist.
Okay.
I think like some people were on Knuckles. I'm not sure how much that came up, but the heavier reliance on silence effects makes it so that in these stack battles, you are able to end the stack battle just because resolving a silence or a Revel in Silence means that no one can cast any more spells, obviously, and then you can just go off to win.
Right.
So I think that's really cool tech.
I've been seeing Orm's Chant pop up a lot more recently, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I personally I think if I were to play another silence effect, it would be Revel in Silence, just because Orum's Chant, if you're in a stack battle against any more than one, like 1v1, it becomes just so much better. Like just having a second silence effect. But I think Orum's Chant is actually really, really cool just because of the combat mechanic side of it with the kicker that it enables. Just because combat damage does actually matter quite a bit in these Tymna-based decks.
Yeah.
Or anyone really playing Necro or Nas, even knowledge of someone on a one ring, you just become the target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't see it as much anymore, but like, Najila is a combat-based win condition. Elavir is like a combat-based win condition. The more stacks-dependent strategies. Derevi, absolutely, yeah. So
Glinthorn.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I do think we're going to start seeing more of these silence-based interactions in decks, and just because the stack battles are becoming so important to fight. So to wrap that up, I don't think there was too many differences deck list-wise, but the ones that were in there, like I'm on Mayhem Devil. I'm not sure who else was on Mayhem Devil.
I was going to bring that up, yeah. I'm curious, were the other guys on Devil or just you, or not sure?
I don't know if anyone else but me was. It didn't come up in the game at all. So it was like, not as impactful. I wish I'd seen it, but I just didn't have a chance to. At one point, the Bowmasters was what started this big stack battle, and that was the second Bowmaster scene in that game. And I think having a Bowmasters throughout the game would have made it a lot more volatile, because people were drawing so many freaking cards. But yeah,
4 blue farm decks. I can only imagine the number of cards that were being drawn.
Yeah, I didn't even have a Ristic Study all game, and Andy didn't have the only person with a Ristic Study was Corwin, and he had 2 of them, and yeah, somehow he was fought off. But
so I want to hang on Mayhem Devil here real quick, because when I watched your cookbook content and even your solo video, you were kind of raving about the Devil for a little bit. So not even necessarily in the finals, but did that pay off for you a lot throughout the day? It kind of sounded like it did. Were people scared of it? Did they remove it? Or just like, why is this guy playing Mayhem Devil? I mean, and the reason I'm curious is because I'm actually running it in my Tymna Dargo deck right now, and I love it for sure.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I actually, I found Mayhem Devil in Tymna Dargo. That's where I was playing that deck a lot, and I just was like, wow, this card is amazing. It just destroys all the quote unquote like bad matchups. Like anything that's off on the stack path, like Blue Farm is a very on the stack kind of deck. Rog's is like very much on the stack. But decks like Rog Thras is on board, Sisay is on board, Magda's on board, Tymna Thrasios to an extent is an onboard deck. Any onboard decks just gets completely destroyed by Mayhem Devil. And I had a game that I probably would have lost in the Invitational had I not resolved a Mayhem Devil. It was like a Kinnan, a Tymna Thrasios, and a Sisay. And as soon as the Mayhem Devil resolved, the game just stopped. Like no one could do anything. All the Sisay just basically gave up. And then I was just able to accrue my advantage because I was like, if you don't let me in with my Timna and my other 2 creatures, I'm going to shoot your board. And so you just get in for free, and it enables so much in that sense. I think if we continue to see, in my opinion, like Rogthras is the second best deck in the format right now. And I think Sisay is probably top 5 if played by really good pilots. And so having Mayhem Devil as sort of I would say it's like a 1-card answer to those decks. Bowmasters is sort of an answer, but it's conditionally.
A little harder.
Yeah. Mayhem Devil is just like on board, a board wipe that's going to just stick on board and kill shit. I do think it's going to be something that stays in my deck personally. If we end up going more turbo, I could see Mayhem Devil getting taken out in favor of something like an Orem's Chant or a Revel in Silence. Same definitely.
I feel like the Devil with the 3/3 body is pretty good too. Like it's a good blocker, or even a good attacker if needed.
Yeah. It was. We were looking at a lot of board wipes going into this. Like Alex, he's the other Blue Farm player in San Diego who I brewed with a lot for this, and we're like, well, Fire Covenant's like okay, but we use our life total so much with Nas and Necro, and Deluge is like pretty bad because it's a sorcery speed, and you're also paying life into it for it to get countered. We were looking at Amphibian Downpour as an option. I think that probably would have been what we slotted in had it not been for Mayhem Devil. But again, that's hyper conditional because if Storm isn't high, you just screwed. So we're like a board wipe on a body does seem really good.
And I think you were talking about March of Swirling Mist too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think March is a great card to put in if you are expecting more turbo lists. Just because it pitches to everything, like Forces and Moxen and Snapbacks and stuff. And if you really need something to remove creatures, then you have it. It was definitely a card that was in like Tremneck's build. He's a European Blue Farm player. He's probably one of the best Blue Farm players in the world. And he's on a much more turbo slanted list. And it was in there for a while. I don't think he's on it anymore. But we did really like a lot of the cards he was on. Snapback was an all-star just for removal and also as a way to generate storm and win in like really low resource lines. Like if I can snap back something and hold priority and offer it, I can just I can ritual essentially myself.
In that case, though, to interject, do you find that worth it to go down 3 cards to get 2 treasures?
Yeah, if I've resolved it ad nauseum and I have like 1 mana, getting to 2 mana is often the difference between winning and losing.
Okay.
And I actually see offer as more of a ritual than a counterspell. I think of it kind of like a Rite of Flame, but like if I have a Mox Amber and no legendaries out, then I can Mox Amber offer it and come out with 2 treasures. I do end up using it more like a ritual than an interaction.
As somebody who's done Adnaz a lot in the past, or even Peer into the Abyss, I agree. Having that 1 or 2 extra pips after the resolution is game changing for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I'm still trying to get better at is using offer as a ritual. I still hang on it as a counterspell for sure. Yeah,
I'll use it early game too. Like you can have like land, Mox Diamond, offer, Lotus Petal, a Rhystic Study, and just have, a turn 1 Rhystic Study if you're playing it the all-out way and not waiting and holding back. So I use offer, like I said, primarily as a ritual, and in worst case scenarios as a counterspell, because it's a really terrible counterspell, giving your opponents win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely I gave Wayne Blade of Boros a win one time by offering him something, and I was like, I don't want to do this because you need the pips, but also you win if I don't. So
yeah. I completely agree. Wayne's awesome, by the way. He's my editor for my YouTube channel. So
nice. Yeah, shout out to Wayne. We love Wayne here.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Yeah, what tournaments are you guys going to that Wayne's going to? How do I go to these tournaments?
We'll be at Fishbowl, but he was at the All Valley tournament here in the Central Valley He had a commitment, but he was going to try to come to. We had one called Cards for a Cause this past weekend. That was for a hospital in the area, Children's Hospital. So that was where a lot of the guys met him. I know him from work. I go down to LA for work often. And so I play at Paper, and I met them before they started doing the YouTube channel. Actually, I met Adriel and JJ and Corbin and Jeremy and Devin and all those guys down there and stuff. So yeah. Good people. Yeah, we met actually a lot of people that know you from Santa Cruz and the Bay Area and stuff. Daryl DRC, name dropped you before. Yeah, Daryl's awesome. We got an interview with him at the tournament and stuff. So it seems like worlds are colliding. cEDH worlds are colliding right now, like a storms of brewing.
Definitely for California. So we're super excited for the California circuit to be able to join the Bay Area, the Central Valley, and then the greater LA area.
Yeah, everybody's got to pass through Fresno unless you want to drive, Highway 1 the whole way down the coast, right? So we're definitely looking forward to helping be a hub with everything for sure.
Totally,
that's perfect. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It feels like, I don't know, it just feels like this whole year has been a really awesome community growth time. Just being able to meet a bunch of people, and I do believe like the circuit will be that sort of unifying call that brings us all together and lets us have that healthy sense of competition. And, hopefully at the Invitational at the end of the year, we can have a bunch of people duke it out to see like who's really the number one player in California. It'll be a really fun journey to get to.
Or what area of California produces the best players?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll be tracking all that with the circuit. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it as well. I'm trying to put in a lot of legwork, getting the networking going and stuff like that. I think everybody's very willing and everybody's very excited about it. So we just got to jump on it while the spark's sparking.
Yep, absolutely agree. Yeah.
So I know we kind of want to dig into the competitive scene a little bit and the circuit, but going back to the tournament, and again, I know you've done a couple other interviews and stuff. Any other, just like now that it's been a few weeks or a month or something like that, what's like sticking in your head the most? And have you made any deck changes? Are you like happy with picks you made? What's your reflection now that it's been some time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm honestly, the biggest thing that come out of it is just feeling really grateful and like happy with the result, not just the win, but just like how it felt to be able to go to something like this with so many people that I'm really good friends with and who I get to play with all the time, and just like feeling such an upswelling of support from all of them and everyone else, both in California and outside of it, who've just been so nice and like willing to engage and help grow, like, both our communities as content creators and also do things like the circuit. So the biggest thing is just feeling really grateful and really happy with the result of it all and with how it all went. From a more technical point of view, I haven't played a ton of Blue Farm after the Invitational. I played here and there, but it's like I really, really played that deck a lot. Like I play a ton of different decks usually, and so
are you burnt out on it now?
just a little bit. I'm like noticing some deck fatigue. One of the decks that I had really wanted to play more was Rogthras, just because I really believed in its power, and I got to see it sort of throughout the year and play with it here and there. So I'm investing some time playing in that deck. But most likely, I will be playing Blue Farm again for Fishbowl. So probably in the next 2 weeks, I'll be hopping back onto there. I'll probably release a video about any changes I make from the Invitational to Fishbowl.
Nice.
As a
great content.
Yeah, because I do think it is still the best deck, and I don't think everyone should play it all the time, but I do genuinely believe everyone should play it at least for a week or two, just to see the power of it and to then be able to take it as a reference point for your own deck and say, here's all the things that Farm's doing. Like I can expect to win on turn 3 consistently, or I can expect to have a value engine on turn 2. And I just think it'll make everyone's decks better and give people a reference point for how to beat it too.
Magician, how long did you play Blue Farm the other day?
I was just gonna say that's funny you bring that you should play a deck for like a week because so Blue Farm was what I started my like my actual tournament grinding with. That's what I brought to Mox Masters back during COVID days. And so I got off the list because I find Adnaz and Necro the scary cards. So as soon as Lord of the Rings came out, I was like, I'll be on, Adnaz less ring control, and I kind of tuned the deck to be more just ring focused, and more control based. And then I just was like, oh no, everyone's just targeting me. Everyone's off something that was not so much of a target. But just recently, I got back on Blue Farm for about a week, maybe a week and a half, just to kind of see it again and see if I liked it. And I kind of abruptly took it apart and went back to my old faithful, which was a question I wanted to actually kind of ask you. Yeah. So our current 3 deck lists, how do you feel about Timna Dargo, Kefka, and the Black Sheep, which is Tavesh Thrasios?
Yeah, love them all. So I have not played any Kefka. I have not built the deck yet. Not because I don't want to, but just because I haven't had time. It's been like the past 6 months for me I'm playing Blue Farm as much as I can, and in my free time, I'm going to play Rog Thras and Timna Dargo, which is the other deck I was really playing a lot of.
And do a million interviews probably.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, it's been crazy. I have done so many YouTube interviews over the past 2 weeks, which have been really awesome. And I'm super grateful to be able to do those to share my point of view, I guess. But Timna Dargo is the one I probably have the most info on out of those 3 lists. It's something that really blew my mind to just see results that Kellen or Hebrew Hercules had. He had 2 pretty much back-to-back wins on the deck in, I think it was over 128 player tournaments. And I believe, I could be wrong, and please correct me if I am, but I don't think there's any other Sans Blue deck that's ever done that, ever. So that's, to me, was like a kind of an indicator of something being like outsized in terms of how strong it was. And so I picked it up. I played it. I still have it put together. I think it's a little bit. I think it needs a little more tuning to be in the point where it can fit in that pocket of being a little bit of a parasitic deck. Like Mardu, in my opinion, is not generally helping too much with the table.
Sure.
And its value is that it's able to go fast enough, or also grind in that mid range and have silence effects, and have really easy compact wins. I think it's really cool that it can win without casting non-creature spells. Like you can just have creature combos that win through like Ranger Captain of ES's. And I genuinely believe it's probably, I think I did a ranking video a little while ago, and I'm pretty sure I had it in like top 7 decks. So yeah, Timna Dargo I think is very real. Kefka I have not played, so I can't give too much information on what I think about it. I don't mean this in any mean way. I just think Roxai is probably better.
It's definitely more established.
Yeah, it's more established for sure.
Kefka's still new. People are still tuning, figuring it out.
I think, and obviously I'm biased because I play Kefka. I think playing it like Rogsai isn't the correct way to play it, because there's Rogsai.
Yeah.
I think it's a better version of Wrongsai, if that makes any sense, of what Wrongsai was trying to do. Just having that card draw engine in the command zone, I think, is something Grixis hasn't really had access to, and kind of allows it to grind the mid-range better than it did when it was just going all in. But that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to work the deck out, trying to figure out its identity and whatnot. So
that's really good to hear. I had people tell me that the best Kefka lists were the ones that were turbo, and then I was like, well, the best turbo lists are Rogsai.
And that's why, like, I did play Rogsai for a bit, and that's why, like, I'm like, building it a different way, because why wouldn't I just play Rockside? Rockside's faster, established, it's better. I agree with you 100%. So either Kefka's got to be something different, or you're just playing a suboptimal tier 1 strategy. Is my opinion on it, but I'm not, I don't have any tournament wins or anything like that. It's just one guy on a small podcast.
And now we're getting another Grixis engine too with Spider-Man. We have Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. It's a new.
Oh, that's right.
Grixis. Like, they're just pumping out Grixis commanders now.
I've heard that thing is really powerful from some beginning testing. I haven't tried it yet either.
Probably can be. Yeah, back to something you said, it kind of glossed over with us just a minute ago, but you definitely mentioned it on your previous videos. Building a deck to test it to better learn how to play against it. I did that with Krakashima probably a year and a half ago, when Ken Bauman and the Thumbless clan was just pushing Kark all over the place. And I got mopped up with Krakashima a couple times and was like, I need to know how to play against this. So I ended up building it to pilot it and loved it. And then ended up playing it for a while myself, never in any tournaments or anything like that. But I'm with you. I'm a big advocate of build different decks, play them for just a little bit, if anything, so you know how to play against it, know what cards you need to stop. So that, it's obvious now to anybody who knows it, but like, kill Kark. Don't let Kark survive, right? Immediately destroy. Like Kennen and a bunch of other commanders we could rattle off. But I'm with you on that one. Build it to learn how to play against it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I personally just have to play other decks. Like, I like trying new stuff and seeing new brews and just trying different strategies. And I think it does incidentally really help you learn how to play against it, and also how to politic with it. That's one of the big things is people talk about beating decks, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, I think there's a quote in Ender's Game, which is like, something to the degree of, before you're able to beat your enemy, you have to know them and like love them almost. And I think that's really how it works in cEDH is, like how I politic is usually from a high empathy point of view, where I'm really understanding my opponents and their motivations, and I propose deals in ways that are beneficial to them. Like I'm very suggestive with my deal making. Like, oh, this is something we could consider doing. This is where I could see this going in the future. And
just salivating over there.
That's I feel like that's my philosophy on politicking. I get told a lot though that I have the silver tongue.
Me too.
in our play group. And it's starting to get to a point where it's like it's a little overwhelming. It's like, no, I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody knows what's happening with the table and like what the possibilities are.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get you.
Yeah.
I feel like a snitch a lot of times. Like, sorry to interrupt, but I'll be sitting there and everybody will be looking at him, and I'll be like the only one who's like learned about the deck or watched it or studied or whatever, and I'll be like, "That's a combo piece," or like, "He's going off right now," and I'm like, "Sorry, like I'm not trying to snitch or anything, but I also don't want to lose right now. Does anybody have interaction here?"
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in with a question from our Twitch viewers right now.
Sure.
What decks do you hate to play against, and what decks do you like to play against?
Great question. That's a really, really good question. I would say my least favorite deck to play against is a Magda.
Nice.
And that's why Mayhem Devil was so good. Is it just there's no single card in my opinion that will delete Magda quicker than a Mayhem Devil. It just they're done. Like, all their dwarfs are one toughness. Their whole strategy is treasures. Like, you just lose if you see a Mayhem Devil and Magda. The reason I don't like playing against it, and I really like I don't dislike Magda players, obviously, but the reason I don't like playing against it is because it is a deck that really flies under the radar, I feel like. And I always have to be pointing out that what they're doing to the rest of the table.
Sure.
Like, people don't know that they can just cast a it's a convoke card, and it makes tap treasures. Like, you kill a creature and it creates like X tap treasures.
Oh, the bottle cap explosion or something.
Right. It's like, that's one spell that just wins the game.
Yep.
And so a lot of times when I'm playing against Magda, I feel like I have to over assess them. And the other thing is, I just don't believe they can ever help me. Whenever a Magda says like, "Let me have an activation, I'll help," I'm like, nothing you do would be good for me unless I can literally pick it out of your deck and do it.
Sysade pilots do the same thing. They're like, "I'll help. Just give me the activation."
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sisei is another deck which I don't love playing against. It's really hard to play against, especially because the decks I like to play, like Farm, Rogthras, like Dargo Timna, like those are Kinnan. I play like all those. I guess you could say I play meta decks, which is a totally fair thing to say. But they operate on this axis that is not casting a lot of spells. It's not drawing a lot of cards, and so it's harder to combat with the tools that more meta decks tend to employ. So yeah, I don't love playing against Magda. I don't love playing against stacks decks. It feels like oftentimes that just devolves into draws. And
I've been saying that a lot myself lately. Not enough time for a stacks decks to win, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel Stacks is playing to not lose. They're not playing to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oftentimes all three players have to work together to stop the stacks deck and force a draw, you know? And it's like you can all kind of see the writing on the wall pretty early, and then you just have to play the game out for another 60 to 80 minutes. And that's why I don't enjoy playing stacks decks, is I feel like oftentimes you can't land enough pieces that you're just not going to get 3v1, because your window of opportunity is actually pretty large, just because you can develop pieces that are going to stop everyone, but you cannot close the window fast enough for 3 other people to come together and just stop you.
Sure.
So yeah. Decks I do like playing against, I have just accepted that I'm a yapper, and so yap happens best in mid-range games. And so playing against turbo decks, I wouldn't say it's a struggle, just because it's like you have to keep more interactive hands. You can't be as greedy. Mid-range games really do feel like my sweet spot. Like I feel like I can develop my engines, I can politic to my heart's content. I can develop my advantage engines. I can, politic against other people's advantage engines. And I believe like playing in mid-range allows for the most amount of expression in cEDH, because you get to play all the different aspects. When you play turbo, it's really, you don't have to politic at all. Like you're just jamming a win and you're like, do you have it? No.
Yep.
Okay. Good game.
Yeah. It doesn't allow you to be social.
Yeah. And I play my fair amount of Rogsai, so it's not like I'm against turbo by any means, but
sure,
it has its place.
Yeah, those are my likes and dislikes, so for sure.
Cool. Great question, Brian. Thanks for dropping by and asking that.
Yeah.
What do you feel is strong right now in the format? I mean, besides obviously Blue Farm, but do you find creature strategies, playing to the board, playing on the stack? Where do you find is the kind of the best place to be right now?
Yeah, good question. I also wanted to circle back because I didn't talk about Thrasios cEDH, so I'll include that in my.
You did want to do it, yes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I really do.
I just thought it got overshadowed because it's not.
No. So in terms of where I think the meta is not like a fixed thing. I think that meta. Actually, I think someone told me this. One of my roommates said this. He said, I think meta comes from Meta Knight and Smash, which I didn't know. It actually may not be true. And it was because Meta Knight was so broken. And so the meta is the best thing to be doing at that given time. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that'll be a funny one.
Correct us in the comments down below.
Yeah. So the meta, in my opinion, is something that is going to be the strongest when there's the highest density of decks doing that thing. We saw it when Rogsai was really strong. There's a lot of turbo, a lot of Rogsai. And so Rogsai was doing well because other Rogsai decks were in the pod, and multiple strategies that converged into that sort of niche meant that niche was going to be the best thing to do, i.e. it would be the best thing to do in the meta. Right now, or maybe in the past 6 months, mid-range was really strong. Everyone was playing farm. Everyone was playing Rogthras. People were, playing Copy Enchantment. They were playing Mirror Maid. Like the cards that are heavily used are, like, in my opinion, really good indicators of where a meta is at. Just because we're seeing, like, oh, everyone's trying to clone Rhystic Study, which means those games are mid-range. Everyone's winning on the stack. It's flash speed, high resources. And now I think we're kind of investigating a really interesting space, which is irresponsible Magic, which is totally fine. I'm all about it. But the emergence,
no one's paying taxes out there.
Yeah, no one's playing counter spells. Like, people are cutting, all their counter spells to play, like, big flip stacks. And I don't know if you guys see this as much, but, like, the semi-blue decks are really becoming a lot more popular. Kinnan big flips, like Hires, Kinnan big flips, crushing things, like having, Gyruda, like all these random ass freaking, like, I don't even know if you call them, like, turbo decks really, but it's parasitic decks that aren't going to play interaction, that are going to play really hard to interact with pieces like creatures and cascade things. And how I see that going is they're going to have their fun playing casual EDH in cEDH pods, and they're probably going to do really well. And then Rogsai is going to come and just destroy them because it can go faster and it will just naturally beat a deck that has no interaction.
Sure.
It's a feeding ground for turbo decks.
I've seen the Gyruda thing you're talking about in our local meta. We've got a Gyruda player who, exactly as you're saying, right? They do well in the first few rounds, and then it seems like they're never really making that top cut or getting knocked out right away.
Yeah. I've lost a Gyruda. Like, I think it's really cool. I just have a feeling that this sort of parasitic meta that we might be encountering right now is going to be swiftly decapitated by turbo pretty soon, and then turbo will get crushed by mid-range. It's kind of like just the cyclical,
the
rotation
cycle.
Right. And while the reason I do think that Blue Farm is so good right now and positioned so well is because you can go just as fast as a turbo deck. You can grind just as well as any mid-range deck. And your late game potential with flash speed wins is just as high as any other deck. I think the same is true of something like Rogthras. What Rogthras gains is that it becomes much better at pushing incremental advantage. Like, Blue Farm can set up its Rhystic Studies and its Smothering Tithes, and those are like the best cards in your deck. In Rogthras, you build on board, but the way you build on board just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Because you're just flipping in more lands, you're flipping in more decreasers, and you just come to a point where it's like, I have a Cradle, a Manamo, a Deserted Temple, I have, a Cloud of Fairies and a Displacer Kitten, and I have 2 discounters. Like, all my Thrasios activations cost 1. There's no way you lose the game, because you draw a card for every mana, and every non-creature spell is netting you like 15 mana. So... yeah, and those decks, in my opinion, grind better than Blue Farm, but they lose to things that are onboard removal like Mayhem Devil and Bowmasters, and it's much harder for them to just draw 30 cards and slam Abolisher Breach.
Yeah, without white.
Yeah, and to dovetail that into Tevesh Thrasios, you get in Tevesh Thrasios have the ability to have 2-card combos. Like, you have your Thoracle combos, you have your Devoted Druid Brewmaster combos, you have what's it called? The Abora Breeze Collar, Cradle Loops.
Talon Gates.
You have the Talon. And you get to grind super well, like Rogthras does. You give up a little bit of that grind and speed because you're not playing Rograk, obviously. And you're also giving up Breach. Like, at the end of the day, Rog can just go Breach and I win. You just don't get to have silence effects to do so. But in Tevesh Thrasios, the cool thing, the reason I like the deck is because you do get 2 bodies every turn with Tevesh. You get black tutors, which are unconditional tutors. A lot of times in Rogthras, like, you need a piece and you have, like, it's hard to get it because all your tutors are creature tutors. And then having 2-card combos is, I think, very, very underrated. I also think it'd be cool to play something like a Dosin in Tevesh Thrasios. Or
that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, because then it's like my green tutors, my black, like, I can find a silence effect if I want to.
Yep.
And I think that makes the deck really cool.
And Culling Writ is
Culling Writ's
hot.
such a good. It's so good.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I hate it whenever I see a Culling Writ on the stack.
Me too.
Yeah, I used to
Unless I'm
as
playing
well.
blue, I really don't care.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to pivot us back into what we were talking about, the California circuit, and even kind of tie that in with the different metas that we're seeing, because our small podcast group right here in our local meta, we think we have, we could classify our meta as Camtastic's been getting more involved with the LA guys, Cookbook, and whoever else. I don't know all the names. Sorry, guys. We hear different things of the meta. We're going to be blending with the Bay Area. So let's talk about, what are the ideas, the plans to get the circuit going? What do you think is going to happen as we start to blend these different local California metas here? Just pontificate for us for a minute, and let's see what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a broad strokes point of view, the California EDH circuit will be very similar to how Top Deck ran its national circuit. What that looks like is all California TOs and stores that want to be a part of it will be able to. And any events they run as part of the circuit will count for the California circuit and the Top Deck circuit nationally if they want them to. So it's not exclusive. We're not saying you have to choose. Like, you could be a part of the Top Deck circuit and the California circuit at the same time. All these events that are run are going to have the players competing in them and gaining points just like they did in the national circuit. So if you win a gold event, you'll get a set number of points. If you top 16 a platinum event, you'll get some points, bronzes, silvers, etc. And that's all based on player size and attendance. What we'll also have is a leaderboard. So we will be able to see who the top players are in California at any given time. And at the end of the year, the top 64 players of that leaderboard will be invited to an invitational, where they will be able to essentially do what I did this year and sort of just like determine like, who's the best player in California, like who gets those bragging rights for the year. And that's like generally what it's meant to do, is just create something bigger for people to grind for, something that's not just one tournament at a time, but being like, oh, I'm number 15 in the leaderboard right now. And like, I really want to get to the invitational, the California invitational. And so I'm going to keep grinding tournaments, and like it creates community just because you keep seeing the same people at tournaments over and over again. You get to know who the really good players are. We're planning to do a lot more about individual players and like do top of the leaderboard discussions and have interviews with those people and really like do it kind of like the Pro Tour used to do it, where they would highlight players and make it like an interactive thing where you got to know people. And what I see coming out of the California circuit is just a much deeper and broader sense of community and like interest in cEDH. A lot of people say like, oh, I wish, we were on the East Coast because they have all these tournaments and like, they get to play all the time. And I do think that playing more tournaments and having a circuit is going to lead to game stores wanting to host more tournaments. It's going to lead players to wanting to come together to, do their own and say, hey, like XYZ store, you got to be in the circuit because I need points for this. And if you're my game store and we're playing every week, we need you to come in. We need you to throw a gold event every month so that we can get the points we need. I saw a lot of it happen this year with the national circuit, where we came together as a store at TC's Rockets. And I think we had like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we had like 7 or 8 people just from TC's Rockets qualify for the invitational because we were all playing so much together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was amazing. And it was like, these are some of my best friends and people I get to play Magic with all the time. So I think having this sort of bigger thing to grind for and to work towards incentivizes players to play in more tournaments, to play games for long-term value. Like there's the idea of an eternal game, which is I'm going to play this game knowing that I'm going to play an infinite number of more games with these same people. And so the way I play the game has to be one that's conducive to like a positive play outcome. And it means less angle shooting and less lying and, because I'm going to see these people all the time. And like, I want to have positive relationships.
The toxicity, if it exists, it'll carry through for sure. People notice that.
Yeah. And a big part of like my gameplay and like how I want to play is that I want everyone to walk away from games with me and be like, that was a really fun game if I won or if I lost. And I want to play with that person again. And I think a large part of that just comes from me knowing that I want to play cEDH for a long, long time. And I want to have positive relationships wherever I go with this. And I just hope that the circuit will enable people to think in a similar way and create positive play outcomes. So that's kind of like a little brain dump on it. But did you guys have any questions like specifically about it or what it might look like at like a ground level?
Not yet. I did want to jump in with something too while the other two are thinking. But so I'm an L1. And I just recently was talking with our local L2 about leveling up, probably here in the next couple months. So my question kind of stems from that, which is like, are you considering judges for the circuit to travel, or are you guys want locals that are in the areas for the tournaments? And like, what does a judging staff look like for our circuit?
Good question. So one thing that is to clarify is the circuit is not necessarily hosting a lot of its own tournaments, aside from the invitational at the end of the year. The bigger point of it is to encompass tournaments that are already being held and have those points contribute to the leaderboard overall. What we do want to do, though, and something that I'd really like to help out with, is to create a shared judge pool. So that would look like getting to know all the judges in California, whatever database, or I don't even know how they communicate yet. And talking to you would actually be really helpful, just to know that kind of stuff. But like, I want to make it so that any tournament is going to have access to this judge database and be able to contact all judges that are local and regional to them and have them come over for the tournaments they're hosting, so that there is proficient judging at events. Another facet of the circuit that's really important is creating a shared event calendar so that stores and TOs are not going to throw events on the same day.
No overlapping. Yeah.
Like I want to create communication among stores so that everyone can win, and there's not like because I don't think there's any reason to be competing with each other. Every game store is essentially the same. They're all offering the same products. And the only differences they're having is how many events they're throwing, and how those events are run. So if we can standardize those events and we can make it so that people have like, relatively same prices among events, like a 60-player event is not going to be $30 somewhere and $125 somewhere. Right. It's all going to be this shared kind of equal momentum where we're all communicating with each other. We're saying, as players, we can have an event calendar in a location space where, like, for the next quarter, here's all the events that are going on within the circuit. Here's where they are. All the stores know where they are, so that they're not throwing events on the same days. Players can set up schedules so that their tournaments aren't like, a big complaint is like, they put the store, the link up for the event a week before and told no one.
Yep. Yeah, and especially if the grand scheme goal is to get people traveling across California. I mean, anybody from the Bay Area trying to get to LA, that's a 6-7 hour drive easy. So you got to, pretty much do that the day before and the day after for your travel and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think to your point, the communication between the different parts of California is going to be key for sure. But I think that's where Discord, the content creators and everything will really help bring that together. And, speaking for the other two guys here with In Response, we definitely are looking forward to being part of that in any way that we can, potentially not in the forefront, but we want to be supporters and advocators of that for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And a big part too, like there's so many parts of this, but like one side is we want to create a hub of content creators in California. Like we would love it if all the content creators who make YouTube videos or who are personalities here have a way to communicate with each other and can work with each other and go on each other's channels. And if we as a circuit can be like, hey, we really want someone to do, VOD review of this tournament, or come and be commentators, or do player profiles, like stuff like that, where we can say, let's all work together as regional content creators. Like I want my channel to be doing this. I want just basically to have more communication among all levels. That looks like player communication at Discord levels and being explanatory of when events are, what prizing is going to look like having a lot of clear, concise points of view at the store and TO levels, so that events are able to run at different times and not be on the same day. They can have shared judge calendars, like I said, so that we can have high-level judging at these events, and so judges get the support they need. And then at the higher level too, with content creators all being connected with each other and being able to talk about similar things and support each other, and essentially just helping all ships rise instead of trying to nickel and dime each other and compete.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's plenty of
stuff.
airtime out there. There's plenty of whatever people are in it for, money, airtime, skill set, tournaments, games. There's plenty of it out there for everybody. So
yeah,
I like that mindset a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll wrap it up for us. We're reaching our hour mark, but we really do appreciate you coming on the show and telling us about everything. I mean, from the invitational to the circuit, everything like that. I know it's going to be a very valuable episode to a lot of listeners, and we super love having you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, I can't
Really
wait to have
appreciate
it. Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, we'll have to try and get some gameplay, and maybe in the future when you win some more tournaments, we'll interview you again. Yeah,
I'm down. That sounds like
Yeah.
a bunch of fun. Yeah,
When you win the circuit.
Yeah. Back to back, baby.
Hell yeah.
exactly.
Sweet. All right, chat. Well, that's going to wrap up the show for everybody. Thank you, everybody who joined us here tonight. Make sure that you guys tune in to us every other Monday here at twitch.tv/camtastic for the live show. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at our YouTube and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate all the support and thank you all so much. Until next time, stay magical.